So 100 days now official, as they say. Put it in the books. Donald J. Trump back in office as the 47th President of the United States. Of course, the Commander-in-Chief, as POTUS 45 from 16 to 2020. Wins the election in a landslide against cackling Kamala Harris back on November 5th, 24. And the rest, as they say, is history. But a ton of history to be made. Certainly feels like just yesterday that yours truly was freezing his respective keister off in D.C., watching the festivities that were mostly moved inside because of the bone-chilling cold. Mother Nature had her way with Inauguration 2025, but I was there, and it was still a festive weekend in D.C. So here we are. Trump sticking to his guns, so to speak, and trying to keep as many campaign promises to the American people that he made on that campaign trail, and he's getting things done. He's doing what I say, TCB, taking care of business in those first 100 days. He got my vote because we'd have a commander-in-chief that would put America first and shut that friggin' border. Prevent the illegal invaders from coming in. And he's also kept his promise of now getting them out, starting with the criminals, the gangbangers, Tren de Aragua, MS-13, the ones that Joe Biden let in to America. Just let them come on in. And they waltzed in, they certainly did, making havoc. Also, the economy. It's being addressed. Gas prices, grocery prices on the way down slowly but surely. Trump not taking crap from anyone. You can see. America first again. The world suddenly has RESPECT for the USA. Slap those tariffs on everyone and their brother, so to speak. And the tariffs have certainly been, I would say, the number one story of these first 100 days. 142 executive orders. You compare it to sleepy Joe Biden. Trump celebrated his first 100 in Michigan today. He had a rally this evening and talked about it in the heartland of America. Take a look and listen for yourselves to POTUS 47.
And we're here tonight in the heartland of our nation to celebrate the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country, and that's according to many, many people. This is the best, they say, 100-day start of any president in history, and everyone is saying it. We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in. And week by week, we're ending illegal immigration. We're taking back our jobs and protecting our great American auto workers and all of our workers, frankly. We're protecting all of our workers. We're restoring the rule of law, which was sort of out the window with this crazy guy we had. How the hell did that guy ever become president? Could somebody explain to me? How the hell did that happen?
Indeed, how the hell did it happen? Well, it's a story for another day. One I've spoken about plenty of time, and I will speak about time and time again as we head into the future. But again, Donald J. Trump with a big crowd in Michigan. What else would you expect in Warren, Michigan? One of the 6 states in the United States that I've yet to travel to. One of the 6 I have to knock down to get to my 50. Meanwhile, POTUS 47, as he was speaking this evening in Michigan and I was watching the rally, I was thinking to myself, and I've thought about this many a times, if someone asked me, and he started talking about it, which is crazy, but if someone were to ask me, what's the first image that comes to mind with Sleepy Joe? And I think about him on the beach. Certainly the microcosm from 2020 to 24. America falling apart at the seams with this puppet, this demented, corrupt, bumbling, stumbling buffoon as the commander-in-chief. But I would think about his days on the beach just lounging there. And again, the world on fire. Biden, this indelible image will not ever leave this brain. And Trump touched on it tonight in Michigan with the faithful, the MAGA proud, and the Americans supporting POTUS 47. Take a look and listen once again.
I sort of loved Sleepy Joe, it just had a nice ring to it. Because he had one ability I didn't have. He goes to the beach, right? And he could fall asleep on a cottage drooling out of the side of his mouth, and he'd be sleeping within minutes, carrying the aluminum chair, the kind that's meant for old people and children to carry. It weighs like about 4 ounces. And he couldn't get his feet out of the sand. And he'd sleep, he'd fall on this thing, and he'd have, he's president, so you'd have cameras. He'd be in a bathing suit. Somebody convinced him that he looks great in a bathing suit. He's 82 years old. Cary Grant didn't look great in a bathing suit when he was 82. You don't look great. At some point you have other assets, okay? But that's not one. But he'd go and he'd walk in the sand and he'd fall into that thing, and within seconds he was sleeping. I'd be tossing and turning and scheming and thinking and saying, how am I going to beat China? How am I going to stop the war with Russia and Ukraine? This guy could fall asleep with cameras blazing, right? Not too many cameras were blazing, but enough were blazing that you saw it. I thought it was a great ability that he had, actually.
Trump, the charisma and the ability to tell a story and have the comedic timing of like a stand-up. Special. Whether you like him or not, he's a one-of-a-kind president. And he touched on, again, that image of Joe Biden. That's what first comes to mind, just slobbering on himself on the beach as the President of the United States. This guy never takes a break. In addition to the reasons I voted for him, and I stated, the other thing I love about Trump, it's undeniable. He's 24/7, 365, the transparency. From the moment the sun comes up till it goes down, and many times when I'm asleep and other Americans and patrons across the world, he's working. He's telling you what's going on in front of cameras, and there are a lot. Unlike Sleepy Joe, who we just alluded to, his cameras are running. He's talking to the lamestream media, the real media, the American public, and the world. And when he's not talking to them, as people are. Or he's tweeting, or I should say posting on Truth Social. So you always know what's going on with our leader and the leader of the free world and what's brewing and what's happening. Because it comes out of the White House nonstop. He's going to work for the American people. 100 days again in the books. It's going to be interesting to see how Trump and his administration continue to make America great again. The honeymoon's over. It's on to phase 2. And the rest of 2025 and beyond in Trump's term. I can't wait to see how things go down and how they shake out and see America rise like a phoenix.